an embarrassing thing to listen about yourself. A very warm good afternoon to all of you, and to you also, the youngest coder in the room. Very happy to be here with all of you. Before so the whole discussion and the environment here is about developing apps. So I'll come and share with you something interesting, what I've learned about apps shortly. But before that, just a thing to all of you. I think whatever you might do, be an app developer, be it the best coder, be it the most geeky guy, be it a great entrepreneur, be it a great professional, I think what I'm realizing increasingly, that for everything that you do, you have to tell a beautiful story. Sometimes we think that story is the domain of people who are in marketing, or people who are in branding, or people who do something which is non-geeky. But increasingly, world over, if you look around, you'll see that some of the best storytellers are the tech gods. And it's very easy to name some of your biggest tech, cult followers, be it Steve Jobs. He's known as one of the best storytellers, or anyone. So let me start this with something I wanted to share, and share with you more in context to what I do, so that you also understand, and in the process tell you a story. I hope I click it right. Oh, sorry. So I had a very interesting dilemma, and Dushyant has listened to this, so you have to pretend that you're listening to this for the first time. So I had a very interesting dilemma this year. So I went again to US a month back. So I think, yeah, it's a month now, and I was in the Bay Area. Again, this was my second trip this year, and the interesting dilemma was that a lady from Stanford who is on our board, she's a very renowned professor. She said that I'm setting your meetings with some of the topmost guys in the industry. And these were the people with whom she was setting up my meeting. And you can see that all these guys are from bigger organizations at a very senior role. And she said, when you meet them, then don't waste time, first of all, and keep on talking about, because Indians have this thing that you are given a chance for a meeting and you keep on talking. So she said, be crisp, be precise, tell your story, and of course, these are very, very important introductions of mine, so value that. And I was like, okay, this is actually a very interesting and, a challenging dilemma, because how do you go tell what you do, in very crisp manner? How do you represent India, where I was coming from? Because, right now, if you see all around us, we are not listening to great stories about Indian economy, Indian job market, India's GDP, and in fact, Amartya Sen and the likes of him are coming up with the uncertain glory about India. So I'm representing a country which is not, buzzing these days in the market, and at the same time I have to tell something about what I do. So this is what I did, and I want all of you, whoever is coding also, to just see this for 2 minutes and tell me if this was the right thing or the wrong thing to do. So I told all these guys who had not come to India before that I come from a country where we are the country which is known to be the largest storyteller in the world. And I hope all of you know this, that the oldest stories in the world came from India, right? It's easy to forget. Somebody will repackage in US and tell us this, then it will become glamorous. But the oldest stories came from here. Be it Vedas, Mahabharata, Panchtantra, which you guys can't see because it's down. So we are a nation of storytellers. Second, and I have told stories in the last 5 years, 12,000 stories. So I started telling stories in our country before stories of entrepreneurs were glamorous, where we didn't feel the need to raise. All the stories are powerful. It's not that only Steve Jobs' story or a Bill Gates story is powerful. Somewhere we have to believe that our story is also powerful, it's meaningful, and our stories can also inspire. And that's what we do. We write stories, and we talk about stories, and we celebrate stories. And what we think and what we believe is that India has 1.3 billion people. India and a part of Southeast Asia. So we've just told 12,000 stories. So we have 1.3 billion minus 12,000 stories more to tell, because these are narratives which have to be captured. You know, we'll all live and we'll all die, and we'll all do different things, but Wikipedia will only have certain things. Somebody has to capture what all of you are doing, and hopefully we'll be able to do that, and hopefully all of you will help us do that. These are some of the, anyways, so I will not go more on this and bore you. So this was a presentation I made at TechSpark. So just to conclude is that I got very good response from everyone. Hopefully we are partnering with most of those people, and they are all very happy and proud about, you know, and excited. So some of them are going to come to India next year. So, you know, so it's not bad storytelling. Now let me share with you, and somebody has to come and help me, the presentation which I've made specifically for all of you. The other presentation that was here. So as all of you can recognize, I can tell stories, but I'm not good at technology. So all of you sitting here are much better than me, and it is a great honor to come and meet all of you. And yes, here it is. Okay, before you make it live, okay, fine. You know, this is the number. I want all of you. Can someone read it for me? Badri, why don't you read this?
70 billion apps downloaded in 2013 and $7 billion earned in mobile app downloads in 2013.
Yes. Now, isn't it an astonishing number? The total number of human beings, all human beings included, on this planet is 7 billion. And this year itself, 70 billion apps were downloaded. So that means per person, 10 apps. Look at the number. Isn't it astonishing number? It's like a crazy number. I was like shocked that that's the amount of app we are consuming. Second is developers like you all over the world have earned, and this is approximate number, so the number can be more. They have earned $7 billion. I was like, why didn't I become an app developer? This is the market, this is the space, and this is the opportunity. And what's that opportunity? See, the surging apps economy, I was just telling someone, is that democracy and apps, so we are living in the time of hypocrisy, because app is giving us all opportunity. And what are some of those opportunities? Look at from the consumer potential, and these are all statistics validated, and from an enterprise perspective. Right now, enterprise is very big because most of the investors are saying that they want to see enterprise applications, enterprise apps, but again, opportunities, and this is from breakup from what developers are making and where the opportunities are more. What is fueling this growth? I think, which year did you, make a guess, which year did this activity and action became big? Tell me. Okay, yes, a little bit closer. So it was 2008 with the App Store coming. And there's an interesting story on how Apple got the App Store. So maybe that's for some other conversation. But 2008, when the world market crashed, when the economy was in doldrums, where many, many people were laid off, that was the year when the app economy started rising, 2008. And this is something which I just wanted to share. I thought this was very interesting. I didn't know about it, is the app user retention. Because the whole dilemma of where what you are doing, how meaningful it will be, depends on this number. How many app users can you retain? And we'll go into it later. but this number has remained constant. So this number is not changing. And it's very surprising why this number is not changing. I think some of you will have to tell why this number is not changing, but it's remaining constant at a certain number. And see, it's 22%, right? Yeah, it's 22%, and though there has been an increase, and Android is picking up, so we are at this event, Android event. So iOS was leading by 51%. Now, Android is at 48 and iOS is at 51. So interesting numbers for all of you to take home. Now, this is what I want to tell you. So last week, I spent time with all the top app developers in India. So I was invited for a conference to moderate a panel where all these app developers who are making lots of money were there. And this is what I learned from them. I didn't want to say daily app routine, because routine looks like not a cool word. So it's daily app rituals of some successful people. So some of the app developers said that, how do you decide which app to make? And I'm asking, how do you decide which app to make?
Based on what's the user expectation.
Okay, yeah, that's a great point. So some of them said that they just go on the search pattern. So they go on all the stores, look at the search pattern, what everyone is searching, and then they start making apps. And some of the richest app guys are guys who go on the search store and figure out, okay, this app is great. So you'll be surprised that alarm clocks and alarm clocks of various kinds have been topping app stores. Like Amazon app stores had like alarm clocks in various shapes and sizes and functionality doing very well, because that's what people are searching. And then some of the smart developers from a short-term perspective start building on that. And you know, I want to give an example of HashQ. They say that their Sudoku app has got 2 million downloads, and they have an app called Sudoku Quest. So Sudoku is like a very normal game, all of us know, and there are multiple games on the App Store with that name, but they've built it because the search pattern is great. And then they found out that who is using, make a guess, who uses Sudoku Quest app most? Make a guess, what kind of people? Old people or small kids? Who? Make a guess? Middle-aged. Oh. Years old. Yeah. All of you are smart guys. You have to give me a smart answer. Tell me. And I'm just loving it. So Sudoku is their Sudoku Quest app. 90% is used by women. And women are buying those apps. And they were also very astonished when they saw their data. And they said, okay, so all these women are not just coming and seeing, they are not casual players. They are coming, they are downloading, they are buying, and they are staying with this app. And that gave an interesting pattern, that women 30 plus, so maybe you can count it in middle-aged category, but women, though I wouldn't, the women 30 plus of age, they are buying those apps. And now they are building more and more apps for this category. So, you know, from India also, so they have this world over pattern. So from India also, women are buying these apps. Second, multiple apps. So this is Alok Kejriwal. I hope all of you know Games to Win and Contest to Win. So I asked him what's his strategy, because he's bombarding app stores with so many gaming apps, and his apps are, you know, last I think he was saying 35 million downloads. And how does he manage to do that? He was saying that you put a lot of apps on the app stores, and then you figure out a pattern, which one users are using, which one they are not. So his Car Frenzy, Park Frenzy, what's the app? So there's an app called Park Frenzy, which is like topping all the charts globally, and people are using it because that's the gaming app. And of course, from an enterprise perspective, utility apps. So many people have figured, like Evernote, Dropbox. Today I downloaded the Udemy app for online courses learning. Need-based. What's the need? And then make the app. So these are the three patterns which people have found very successful in terms of making apps. And how do you determine your success? So I think this all of you must be knowing. I just wanted to maybe give a cheat book that some of the most successful guys look at Chartboost and play Heaven SDKs to monitor how their apps are doing. Do you guys know about this? Oh, good. So I know more than techies. So these are two SDKs which are very, very useful on a daily basis to monitor how your app is faring and how you can monetize that. And a new word which I want to leave all of you with is RPM. Do you guys know RPM? Huh? What? Yes? Huh? Be loud. I didn't. Yeah, revenue per million. So it's just a new lingo which has come in the market to evaluate apps, and that's being used. And most of the sites and the SDKs, you'll see this is the word that's going to be used. So interesting. I didn't know about this, and I thought I should share with all of you. So, and of course, long-term players, and I hope all of you are going to be long-term play, is about valuation. And how do you build valuation? I think it's a very simple science. It's number of downloads, and if all your downloads is converting into revenue. And of course, the last thing which I spoke to Dushyant, and he said, if you can talk about monetization. So monetization is a great area of interest for me personally, because what I did and I started as a venture also didn't have a clear defined monetization. It's not an e-commerce thing that I do where you can just go and buy. So I figured how you monetize things. So monetization still remains a challenge for app developers, but this is and this is not just app developers in India, but this is the best of the best studies say globally. This is how you become an Angry Bird, or this is how you become Road Rash and all these kind of games. Simplicity matters. It has to be very simple. End user experience, I think all of you know. So one thing which we keep hearing about Indian apps, why are Indian apps not taking or becoming very big? Because we've still not cracked the end user experience that we are supposed to give. And if you do that, then you make money. Time of purchase of the app. So do you know this pattern? I was very surprised. When do you think people buy an app? Gaming app, particularly. Huh? What? Close. Any more guesses? Huh? Ah. Okay. All are right answers. But I was surprised that app buying pattern is not most on Mondays. So people don't buy apps on Mondays, don't buy it on Tuesday, don't buy it on Wednesday. From Thursday evening, there is a slight, you start seeing in the chart. Friday, as the office is ending, app buying increases and it goes on till late night. And that's interesting. And this is interesting for all of you. See if in your app you see the same kind of a thing. So basically to make money, sometimes things are so simple that maybe you just need to do some advertising which happens on Friday or Thursday. So again, time of purchase of the app is very important to make money. In-app purchase, I think all these guys are saying, and Alok Kejriwal was saying that he started making money through in-app purchases, which has become like a big thing. Like give a free app, but build something compelling that people buy it. I am a very avid in-app purchaser, but these are mostly utility apps. Like, you pay for a Keynote or stuff like that, and you start paying because they make sense. 10 days you use, and then 11th day you make them buy. Push notifications. So some of them said that the interesting buying behavior for their app they have seen is then when they send push notification after 10 days, or if they see that someone has come and seen the app and not appeared again for 15, 20, 1 month, then they send push notifications. And sometimes the consumer behavior is so casual that they respond to push notification, because it's not that they hated your app, it's just that their attention is so bifurcated. So you just need to somewhere use this. Then this, I think all of you will know, back-end control of advertisement. So the biggest deterrent to people not using app, supposedly, is too much and too many apps popping up. So when the, and that destroys the experience. So some of the most successful app guys don't have ads in their app. Now that's the interesting question for Android app developers, that if you don't have AdMob, and if you don't have your own apps, what are you going to do? Like, how do you make money? So then the answer is that you get people hooked, do it for 10, 15, 20 days. When you see that there is some kind of a regularity building, then you start your ads. And then people have more chances of sticking rather than the ad popping up from day one. And of course, again, did you guys know about this one? MoPub? All of you? MoPub? No, I feel, Dushyant, you know about MoPub? Yeah, great. So we both are the intelligent people. So.
Maybe we have free time, they don't have a free time.
That's also true. Huh? Oh, no, I'm just joking. So MoPub is a very interesting platform. All of you should go and check, because MoPub apparently is solution to most of the challenges which app developers have, be it in terms of how you should distribute your apps, how, seeing the consumer behavior on your apps, and different kinds of ad networks. So you can basically put all your in-house ads, ad networks, everything on this platform, and it just becomes your layer. So you can use this as your interface for everything. So please try MoPub, because some of the biggest app developers are using it, and they vouch that they have become bigger because somewhere MoPub has helped them. And that's why Google apparently has acquired, Twitter. Twitter has acquired them at a very, very high valuation. So request all of you to go and see MoPub. Now I don't have anything. So this is it. I hope this conversation was useful for some of you, and look forward to interacting. And thank you to Intel, Dipesh and Dushyant for inviting me for this session. It helped me to study on apps. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Harshvardhan, thank you so very much. It was indeed a very informative talk that you had. And I would now like to call upon stage Dipesh Khona. Ladies and gentlemen, please give him a round of applause. And Dipesh would like to ask you a few questions.
Shraddha, thank you for coming on Saturday evening and helping all these bunch out with your lightning talk. While before we end your talk, I would like to ask you a few quick questions that in general, when developers and when startups, they come up with, these are the most common thoughts that come to their mind.
Okay.
So one primary thing, like you mentioned all of the interesting rituals, one primary thing that comes to a typical app developer is, great, I now know where to find my interesting, great new idea for app, or how do I pair one idea with a reason, from where do I get it? But how do they make a choice on platforms? On what basis? Are there particular indicators that you see around? Irrespective of my company at the forefront, I would still like to ask you about this question. Are there any particular indicators that they should look for?
Yeah, so I have this, thanks. So Dipesh, in fact, I was very surprised and somewhere ignored this, that last week I was there for this Amazon App Store conversation which was happening. And in the conversation, something very interesting came, that in Google Play, in Android, the consumers who are building it and the consumers who are consuming it. So it's so open that monetization becomes very difficult for the first time app developers because it's such a free platform right now. And they said, and it just completely stuck a chord that they said in Amazon, the consumers who are consuming are wealthy consumers. Because if you go to Amazon, the experience is to buy something. You're not going just to casually, surf the internet. You're going to buy something. So, and the consumers are wealthy. So the kind of return people are getting on that app store is very, very high.
So keeping the brand aside, what I'm hearing is you should rather target platforms which can allow you to get to wealthy customers.
Yeah, not to wealthy customers, but the platforms which help you to make money, because we are so many app developers. Somebody has to help.
Right, thank you for the insight. One other question. While we know what kind of rituals or where to look for, are there any particular indications you are seeing in the app economy which tell you that is enterprise consumption of app higher than consumers or vice versa? Are there any particular trends around that? Have you seen, have you noticed, or?
Yeah, I think consumer apps will always be big, no? Because like the 70 billion downloads, I'm sure it's like consumers and young consumers like this. So there are a lot of gaming apps for kids and they're consuming it all over the world. So I think consumer apps in volume will always be higher. But in terms of the value, like, today you'll see, and I'm sure all of you must be hearing the buzz from Silicon Valley that enterprise is the sexiest thing right now. So enterprise, because people think that the real value can be extracted from enterprise, and it has not been tapped till now. So utility apps and enterprise apps will automatically get attention because every investor and everyone today is talking about the untapped potential of enterprise. So
interesting, Q. There is a huge untapped potential, as Shraddha saying, which could come to the forefront of developers and all the efforts that are being done with developers. One last and important question. While monetization has been talked in many ways, some say, yeah, some developers are making money, while there are a whole lot who say we are not making money. What's the big magic about this? What is your viewpoint about it?
Maybe my viewpoint might not be very correct, but this is, I've just been seeing some very smooth talking marketing guys, and I was surprised. I was just coming in the car and I was telling my husband that, today I can also make an app and get some developer to build it and build an app and market it. Somewhere what I'm seeing is that the lack of marketing and the people who have the potential and the access to market can market it. It seems very unfair. Look at iOS. To get on iOS, to get that kind of experience, you just need that money. It's easy and it's clear. Android, you do it because you just don't need as much money as you need for iOS. And iOS has become a big boys play. Whoever has the biggest amount of money can go and do different stuff. So I think somewhere to make money, the developers would really need to find some partner, some smart partners who complement their skills. Marketing guys, designers, like Airbnb did, tech guy and design guy, and they built such a great business. So get someone who complements your skill and see it not as a hobby, but a business and scalable business. I always keep a benchmark that if somebody is making X amount of money, so can you. And I think the missing quotient, which I really feel for all of us, because I went to US and I felt that I also miss it and all of us miss it. So we had this TechCrunch India Pavilion, and I thought is that we really don't market ourselves well. Second is we really don't present ourselves very well. Sometimes very simple apps are presented so well that it becomes consumable. So those are some of the things. If we work, then I think all of us will become multi-billionaires. All you guys over here have the potential.
Good. Yeah. Thank you, Shraddha. Thank you for your time
Thank you.
once again.
Thanks so much. Love being here. Thank you.